Welcome in to Sports Wagering University. This is Kyle Hunter. I'm joined by Devin Ellington here today. We're going to talk about the SoCon Southern Conference, a conference that Devin and I both enjoy handicapping quite a bit. And it's conference tournament time, Devin. I love this time of the year. I imagine you do as well, correct?
Absolutely. Nothing more exciting than the Northeastern Conference and the SoCons and all those goodies.
Absolutely. These smaller conferences are the ones that you and I love to handicap. We'll break these down. Sports Wagering University, we're excited about it, everything that's going on over there. We've had a college basketball, we had a live class, we've got an ATS class and a totals class available over there at sportswageringu.com. Follow everything going on at Sports Wagering University on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We got a lot going on at Sports Wagering University, and we'll have a lot more going on here in the next few weeks and months. I'm excited about that. I know you are as well, Devin.
Yeah, more stuff to keep us busy. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Staying busy is always a good thing. And we're going to stay busy here coming up over the next few weeks. I know March Madness is a crazy time. During those weeks, there's not as much rest. There's a lot going on, but hey, this is almost the end of the season. We can rest a little bit after March Madness is over. So let's get into this here, talking about the SoCon. We'll break this down to see our thoughts. This one's being played at Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina. Devin, I like to talk about totals. I'm a big totals guy. There are some venues that are really good for the under. This one, I pulled this one up, looked it up here in Bet Labs right before we were going live. Harris Cherokee Center, 15 unders, 10 overs. There haven't been very many games played here yet, so it's kind of hard to tell. There have been some pretty low scoring games. I would imagine this is probably a slightly good venue for the under, but this is nothing like, Madison Square Garden or anything like that. So I want to point that out to start. And we have, as far as the SoCon here, a pretty wide open conference. There's plenty of teams that could win this. This is no WCC with Gonzaga or anything like that. We got the 1 seed being Chattanooga, Furman the 2 seed, Samford the 3 seed, a team that surprised throughout the course of the season, the 4 seed Wofford, 5 VMI, 6 UNCG, and then on down the line. These will start Friday, March 4th with ETSU against the Citadel and Mercer against Western Carolina. So, Devin, let's start real quickly just talking about those initial games. You have any initial thoughts on East Tennessee State, Citadel, or Western Carolina, Mercer? I don't know that I have any strong opinion on either of those games. Do you have anything that you like there?
I don't. I think Citadel can pick up a win. They've been very spotty this year, but nothing much. ETSU's been a letdown all year. They lost all their returning experience from last year. So I think this year, the higher ended teams are going to be the more fun matchups.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think there's anything that's great value there on that first day. I think the most intriguing game to me for Saturday is Wofford and VMI. I think both of those teams are a little bit tricky. I think that makes a tough matchup for Chattanooga if they get through their first game there against either East Tennessee State or the Citadel. We're going to assume they do. Obviously, crazy things happen. You never know. But Chattanooga's been good this year, balanced team that can score from inside or out. I do like them as a team, but I think Wofford and VMI are both a tough matchup. Wofford's had a lot of success in the past in the SoCon, well-coached team. VMI is a tricky team because they put up so many threes that you just don't know if they're going to be nailing those threes or not. If they do hit their threes, they can be a really tough team to beat. Obviously, Stevens has been injured some at the end of the season, so hopefully he'll be ready to go here in the conference tournament. And then down at the bottom of the bracket, you got Furman would be playing against the winner of Western Carolina Mercer and Samford against UNCG. What do you think of how this bracket looks as far as who has the easier path or the tougher path here, Devin?
The tricky part with the conference is that there's landmines all over it. And I'm glad you brought Wofford up because it's a team that I wrote about earlier this year in the State of the Union of the SoCon, essentially, and talked about their placement where they were. They were about 7th or so. And, they've made a good ascension here and got better position, in my opinion. I think their style of play, and you mentioned their health, but the style of play, I think it gives them a good chance to, get past a couple of teams that they previously struggled with in the, conference play area of the schedule. And Chattanooga's got a lot to prove. I mean, I think they're just kind of waiting and seeing. I think they get complacent. But the exciting stuff is going to come from Wofford, and UNCG is pretty interesting.
Yeah, UNCG is a team that slows down the tempo. They have a new coach this year. I did win some unders with them throughout the course of the season. Kind of a fun team that there's a lot of teams in the SoCon that are really offensive based, and UNCG tries to slow it down and have some lower scoring games. Kind of the opposite of the Citadel, a team like that. Um, Citadel VMI, if games like that happen, they can be really high. UNCG against some of the other matchups, they can be pretty low. As I look at this bracket, I kind of like the spot where Furman's sitting. I kind of feel like the 2 seed has the better bracket than does the 1 seed in this one, because I think Wofford VMI is a really tricky matchup for Chattanooga, if they get to that point there on Sunday, March 6th. And Furman to play either Mercer or Western Carolina. I think Furman has shown themselves very well against Mercer in the past. I don't think that Western Carolina, I mean, they've looked really poor throughout the season. So I would think it'll probably be Furman versus Mercer in that game. And if it is Furman, Western Carolina, then that's easier path for Furman. As far as the second game, as far as second game there, Samford is a fun team. I like that they press with McMillan as their coach, and I like their style of play. Kez Glover, a really good player, fun to watch certainly, but Samford isn't nearly as good of a team as Furman overall. They did beat Furman once this year. The other game, I believe Furman won, 81-49. So pretty wildly different there on that one. This would be on a neutral court. I would give Furman a pretty big edge in a game like that. I was looking at the prices here, Devin, and I think this is something we talk about at Sports Wagering University. Shopping around is so important. I've seen plus 140 on Furman. I've also seen plus 190. And I don't have to tell you, there's a huge difference in plus 140 and plus 190. Implied probability is vastly different there. Plus 190 on Furman, I think, is a pretty good price. That one's at FanDuel right now. I would definitely consider taking Furman there on that one. If you look at Shot Quality, a site that both of us like a lot, Simon does a great job with shot quality. I think that Furman was a bit unlucky throughout the course of the season. They lost some games they could have won. They actually think that Furman should have been 12-5 in the conference instead of 11-6. They also think Chattanooga, instead of 13-4, should have been 10-7. So a pretty big difference there. And the other thing is Samford was 10-8. They should have been 8-10 based on the quality of their shots. UNC Greensboro, a fun team, but they're pretty much middle of the road. Don't have the high end talent that Furman does. I like Bob Ritchie as a coach at Furman. They've had not a lot of success in this conference tournament, but I feel like it's set up pretty good for them to have success here. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you like Furman's path here in this one?
Yeah, Furman to me offers the role as the most balanced team in this bracket. We've seen their defense, like you mentioned, that they allowed less than 50 points. And on the flip side, I've seen the VMIs and these other teams we've discussed have totals go over 200 in their games or reach 200. So it's ridiculous, and so you want to have that good balance in terms of defensive and offensive efficiency. And shot quality, I mean, it's hard to ignore those facts because Simon's got a really great thing with the model over there. So looking with that data, backing it up with what we've seen in our eye test, I think, you and I and a couple other folks out there could agree that the Chattanooga stuff, they just kind of were streaky, and shot quality, I think, magnifies that and gives me a little more confidence in my eyes.
Yeah, if you look at Chattanooga as a team, they have some real weaknesses on defense. Their defensive efficiency numbers are not very good. Looking at shot quality, they're really weak against pick and roll ball screens. Those are pretty common in a lot of teams in this conference. they're terrible defending the 3-point line. A team like
Mm,
Furman shoots very well from three. So does VMI. Teams
yeah.
like there's many teams in this conference that could really light it up from three. That concerns me quite a bit for a team like Chattanooga. They are a good team, but I've seen plus 150 or plus 160 on Chattanooga, and that's probably a good example to say plus 150 or plus 160 on Chattanooga is not a good bet. If you
Mhm.
want to bet them, you'd want to take a money line rollover and just bet them on a single game. There's some other teams where that would be the case as well. If you just look at the odds, you see teams that are plus 200, plus 250, and there's no way that you're going to get a price that's worse by taking a money line rollover because there's a decent amount of hold for the sports books and these prices. So it's something to keep in mind when you look at these because conference tournaments, futures are fun and they're easy to bet those right away. But sometimes it's better to bet a money line rollover because it's also easy to hedge that. You just stop betting. So that, or you can bet
Yeah.
less. You don't have to bet everything and roll over all your money. I do like money line rollovers quite a bit. It's just kind of the consistent play. You take them on the money line, you do it again. If you don't like what you saw the last game, you can stop and just keep the winnings that you have. So, do you have any teams here on this that are kind of underdogs that you would consider taking a money line rollover with here, Devin?
I'm all in on Wofford. I
Okay.
like you said, there's a couple of these teams, especially the higher seeds, that struggle with that perimeter defense. So if Wofford's able to take care of business in their first matchup and they get matched up with the higher seed, I like their chances to come out and put 85 points up. They're going to have to defend in spots, which is an issue for the Terriers, but getting the 3 pointers flying, that's always a good thing for Wofford.
Yeah, and Wofford has been putting up a ton of threes. As far as catch and shoot threes, they're fifth most in the country as far as threes. This is a team that really is pretty efficient on offense, both twos and threes. They don't play quickly. They make you play their style as far as slowing the game down. I like that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Wofford Furman matchup here in the
Yeah,
final. That's very
yeah.
possible as well. And if you like Wofford and Furman, you could always take Wofford on the money line rollover and then either bet part of it against Furman or stop betting if you like Furman in that final game. So there are ways in these conference tournaments to bet multiple teams and still make a profit as well. So, looking at this one, I think it's a fun conference tournament that's pretty wide open. I like Furman's chances to at least get to the championship game. Plus 190, a pretty good price. I'm not sure if you'd be able to do better than that on a money line rollover, but most of these you would do better on a money line rollover. I'll just make a mention here real quick. Like Wofford plus 350, plus 380. Moneyline rollover is going to beat that price. If you think about Wofford would be an underdog multiple times, you're going to get a better price than that. So something to keep in mind here as you handicap these conferences. Devin, anything else you like here about this conference here, looking at this tournament?
That it's starting soon.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got a lot of action coming up. I would say as a general note, keep in mind that a lot of these conference tournaments, unders have done pretty well, especially the later you get in the conference tournament. You've played 3 or 4 days in a row. The tired legs, the shooting numbers can go down, and the games mean more. You know this, Devin. The pace can slow down sometimes when it's all or nothing. You either win or you
Mhm.
go home. That's it. Certainly, you can see some foul fests at the end of the game, but you also see some slower tempo, less turnovers. They're being really careful. You could see a team that usually plays at 75 possessions play to 67 or 68, and it's not really surprising. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind. A lot of these teams are going to give everything because this is their last shot. But Devin, I appreciate you joining me here today. And Devin does a lot of articles at Sports Wagering U. I know he runs the Instagram as well. Check out his work at DALE007 on Twitter. You can check out my work at Kyle Hunter Picks on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kyle Hunter Sports Picks on YouTube. Also, Sports Wagering U on YouTube. We're going to have a lot more videos going up. Go over to Sports Wagering University, sign up for the newsletter. We'll have lots of specials and contests coming up. So I'm looking forward to all that. Devin, looking forward to covering some more of these conference tournaments with you as we go forward. And thanks for joining me here today.
Likewise.
All right, guys. So check out Sports Wagering University, and we will see you next time.